What's up, everybody? Welcome to Theory Unlocked, the Gamerz Theory podcast, where we usually talk about news, but we always seem to have another guest around the corner. Today's no different. As always, I'm Drew Bosley. Joining alongside me is that beautiful baby-faced Michael Fisher. Fish, what's going on, dude?
Oh, not much, as you said. It's been a while since we've had a guest on, so I'm excited. It's also a special edition. We got one topic to focus on. I cannot wait to talk about it. But Drew, introduce our guest for the people.
That's right. It's my bearded brother from another mother. It's Caleb from Cinelinx. Caleb, how you doing, man?
Hello. I'm good, man. I'm good. I really appreciate you guys having me on today. It's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts together, and I'm just glad to be here to talk about, 007.
That's right. That's right. Before we get to that, though, you can always go check us out over at thegamerstheory.com. But if you're not checking us out, you should go check out Caleb. Caleb, where can they find you, buddy?
Right over at Cinelinx.com. It's Cinelinx. We got some really great content over there, video content, reviews, all different types of stuff. And we're flying out Summer Games Fest as of tomorrow morning, and I'm excited for all the stuff that we're going to be able to cover at the event.
There's going to be a lot going on. I'm looking forward to checking out what you guys are up to. We weren't able to make it this year, but we'll see what happens next year. Eh, Michael?
Hey, hopefully next year we're out there with them.
Absolutely. We'll hang out.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into it. We're talking about none other than 007 First Light. We got our codes a little later than we anticipated. It was a bit of a whirlwind trying to get it, but we were able to get in there. Caleb, you reviewed it for your site. Why don't you kick us off? We're scoring out of 10. You guys over there score out of 5. Not saying you do it right. Maybe you're just not doing it right. But that's what you guys are doing. So what are you going to score 007 First Light? And some high-level thoughts. What you got?
Well, I do like being transparent. We did have also the opportunity of first getting the code early. Sure. And also we were flown out by IO Interactive about a month prior to that to be some of the first people to check it out. We got to play it for 4 hours on a pretty high-end PC. So I did mention that in my review video, but if we're scaling it from 1 to 10, I did give it a 10, comparing it to other Bond games that I've done before in the past, and of course, Hitman as well. I feel like this was a pretty great experience from start to finish.
Fair enough. Michael, where are you, buddy?
A little bit lower than Caleb, but I think he nailed the high-end points. I gave this game an 8 overall, but as he said, I think it does a really good job as a Bond game. I think it fits exactly the narrative and the structure a Bond game needs to fit. And we were worried with Hitman, was it just going to be a reskin? I think they did a really good job letting Bond breathe, bringing in elements from Hitman that we can appreciate. Sure. I, however, did appreciate that it wasn't a full stealth. If you're detected, you fail. I was throwing hands with everybody, but I did appreciate that it wasn't just Hitman with James Bond skin. They let it breathe, but they took over the concepts that we know and love and made them better.
That's fair. Right there. I'm right there in the middle between both of you with a 9. I ran into a couple issues, which I will get to eventually. But overall, yeah, my biggest fear was, is this going to be a Hitman reskin? And I'm happy to say it's not, right? There's a lot other details here in gadgetry and the spy thriller sense of the experience that really kind of hooked me and drew me in. And yeah, there's a lot we're going to get into. No spoilers yet, but we are definitely going to spoil the fuck out of this thing at the end of the podcast. We will give you a big heads up, so if you haven't beat it yet, you'll know to bounce. Otherwise, if you have, we'll stick around and we can spoil everything together. But, gentlemen, let's start with the story. Was the story on point? Caleb, you're kind of a dead giveaway with the good old 10. But was it anything surprise you out of the story?
I think it had its twists and turns. I think that it, at times when they try to bring that cinematic type of universe into games, at times it kind of gets watered down for more of like the action of things, or there's a little bit more focus on the gameplay mechanics compared to the story or whatever. But in this sense, it felt like it was all built in that type of same circle. If the gameplay mechanics are this good, then there has to be good story elements as well. And I feel like they did that really well. I think they told, especially with and this isn't a spoiler, but with the new origin of James Bond. This is not the cinematic origin of James Bond. This is something new and fresh. I feel that is something that really kind of started it off well for me and made me feel more engrossed into the character because, when you got things like Spider-Man and Batman and all these other things, you know the story so much.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects that you've seen over and over again. So I think the story in this game was really done pretty perfect. I think that there was some times that we saw some things happen that were kind of like, okay, I knew that was, I knew that was going to happen.
Sure.
But at the same time, I think if we're comparing it to something like a movie, I think it could stand pretty tall.
Absolutely. Michael, you in agreement, or where are you at with the story?
Oh yeah, full agreement. I think the story is the best part, and I think I'm glad Caleb brought up a movie because I felt like when this game was at its best, it felt like you were almost just playing out a movie, right? Yeah, it's James Bond. We know he's going to find his way to the end of the level, but how are you going to do it, right? And you kind of get to do it in your own way, and you kind of almost get to build your own movie. I thought the cutscenes were amazing. I'm not a guy who always watches cutscenes. Didn't skip a single one in James Bond. I thought the story to me is the absolute highlight, and it 100% carries the game. And again, I thought at its peak, I'm just sitting back playing a movie. Like, all right, I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to watch a cutscene. I'm going to do a little bit more, I'm going to watch a cutscene. And that I thought was exactly where this game pulled it off perfectly.
Well, it's funny because I'm right there with both of you. It's Scott hit me up when I was playing the game. He's like, "Dude, how is it?" I said, "Yo, it's a film, but in your hands." And I was just like, "Damn, they've really got this nailed out." And then the way the story unfolds and the twists and turns, I so love that spy thriller espionage. It's such a me genre, right? So I'm already so comfortable in this world, and I love the way they're able to pull in Q and pull in this new telling of James Bond, like Caleb was talking about, because yeah, we've all seen the James Bond shit go down over and over and over again. How are you going to freshen this up? And I think they really did set this up to now bring in a new era of Bond. I think is really where they set that story to go, right? Which is so important, I think, not only for James Bond fans, but for IO themselves, because IO is just really known for Hitman. They did Cinelinx back in the day, right? But they
totally forgot about Cinelinx.
but
for some reason, at one point in time, I was like, "This is such a good game." But it's, I think since then, I've gone and played back and been like, "Man, it hasn't aged well."
Yeah, but now we're building this new 00. That's the era of the new 00, and I thought, man, this is cool. And you meet these other cast of characters that are in part of your group, and the way that's set up and then unfolds are that it was so smart. Instead of getting another generic, hey, here's Spider-Man, you know he get bit by a fucking spider? Like, I don't want to do that again. Right? Yeah. So to see James Bond not have the experience, that setup from that intro of the helicopter going down, I'm like, oh damn, here we go. This isn't just okay, sit back. Some games, Red Dead 2 example, the story takes 25 hours to kind of unfold itself before you really get hooked. There wasn't that. I thought the minute Bond started, now here we are. Let's go. 007 First Light starts off so hard, and it had moments of comedy, it had moments of passion, it's James Bond, right? You got to have those women in there.
Yeah, so that's right.
I was like, oh, all right. He did too. Okay. So, but it's just, it had that Bond feeling, but just such in a new era that I am very excited to see where IO will take this next. Right? But let's bounce around. I don't think we need to really focus on one thing. Is there anything that's kind of at the peak right now, Michael, that you're like, dude, I got to talk about this?
I mean, I think for me, I do want to say, the reason I think my score is so much lower than your guys is I think the part where this game really lost me, I think, was the combat. I think to me, that's where I struggle and where it really pulled me away. Especially, to me, the biggest issue was the gun moments, right? Drew and you and I were talking this right before Caleb joined.
Yeah.
I don't need to be John Call of Duty, right? I don't need 900 rounds. I don't need to hold down the right trigger until nothing is left breathing on the map. But to me, where I really got lost is, all right, I kill a guy, pick up his gun, 6 bullets. all right, now there's an armored enemy. Now I got to take him out. I got to run over to get his gun. And to me, I think that's where some of the levels really bogged down for me. And at least what I thought was maybe the only real drawback is I get James Bond. It's a spy thriller. Let's focus on the stealth. But the combat, especially the gun combat, really lost me because it felt like the only way, at least for me, to optimally do it was like, all right, kill this guy. I got to run over, grab his gun. Kill the next guy. I got to run over, grab his gun. The guns just needed a little bit more ammo to be a little bit more seamless because the combat was cool, right? I shoot a guy in the leg, he staggers. I shoot a guy in his hand, he throws his gun up in the air. That was all really cool, except I had 5 bullets, and if I ever missed a bullet, I was absolutely screwed.
Dude, I missed the first 3, and then I'm left with 2. Like, that's
Yes, exactly.
that's where I'm at. I'm right there with you, though. I felt the gunplay could have been a little bit more polished. I felt a little empty and behind the times. I'd rather get rid of my gun and just go in with my fists, because I found that was easier to then combo off of them, kind of like that Batman Arkham style, right? Where you're then putting in a parry because you got another guy coming at you from behind. I'm going to parry him, give him a couple punches to the face, and then spin around, get the next guy, and then charge at the next guy over here. Even if a heavy comes at you, I was playing on Xbox, so I was holding down, I think it's right trigger, and then X or something along that line. You charge right into them, stagger them, and then, so it was trying to figure out what was the best way. If I'm only going to pick up a gun with 5, maybe 8 bullets if I'm lucky, then how do I take them out, stagger them first, and then I'm going to shoot them, right? I think it's trying to figure out the best maneuverability around. But for me, dude, it's the stealth. It is, I'm going to distract the guy over here, then you're going to go up, and I'm such a Panther-like player. I go in, I'm going to take you all out without you even knowing, and then I'm going to walk out the front door. That's my goal. Did it always happen? Absolutely not, because I blew it so many times. But there are opportunities for you to go in and hone in on the stealth mechanic. And I thought they nailed the stealth mechanic. But again, this is the team that brought us Hitman. So I had a high level expectation already for the combat, for the level design, for the opportunities to go, okay, it's not from point A to point B. I'm going to go point A, and then I'm going to go left because point B is way over on the right side, but I can still make my way through other opportunities that will draw me over to that destination in the end.
I'm going to make a comment that I get where y'all are coming from with the combat, but what I don't get is I heard no comments about the Q gadgets during this combat. That is how you save your ammunition. That is how you best utilize your weapons in this game. And I'm telling you, when you really hone the Q gadgets during these fist fights and battles, brother, let me tell you something. That's cinematic. Like when I walked into, at one moment I had like 6 enemies in front of me, and I'm thinking, you idiots, why did you have to be so loud to where they noticed you? Or, I didn't bluff correctly, or I would do something weird, and whenever I did bluff in that area, they didn't either believe it, or I would forget that, when you bluff to some of these characters, it actually will show a timer of like, they're kind of getting to the point of saying, that guy didn't really make sense of what he said. So I found myself multitudes of times to where I was trying to sneak back, and like you guys, not just because I am a big man, I am a bull in a china shop on most of these games. And so whenever I do try to be silent and, deadly, I usually just come out like a really large, nasty fart that everyone is throwing everyone everywhere. But what was great is when I would get to the point of noticing that I had low ammunition, that is whenever I would start utilizing my Q gadgets, either the laser or the earbuds that were like the flash grenades, or even the lighter that was more of a stun grenade, and then I would attack some of the heavier characters first, take them down, and then move to the smaller, but also utilizing everything around me. There's so many other items that you could pick up during the combat and throw, or like what you guys said, running out of your ammunition and then throwing that gun stuns them pretty heavily. But depending on how you use it and how you utilize some of those, I think that is the reason why I had such a more enjoyable experience, because I was just like, oh, okay, well, I got 7 guys running at me. I'm going to punch one of them, shoot the other one with a laser beam, flash grenade this one, and then take out the heaviest one first. So I do get what y'all are saying. There were times that I kind of thought what Fish said of like, God, bro, this dude's a soldier, or this guy's like a soldier for a secret organization. He's got 6 bullets. Like, are they running low on funds? But at the same time, it was always nice to get up to some of those heavier characters that had like shotguns or something like that, and then just take the room out. But I think using the Q lens is something kind of like what you said as well, is that you have to utilize the Q lens. Like Drew was saying, you, even if you're not being stealthy, if you don't utilize the Q lens and activate some of that stuff around there, or pick up those batteries to activate some of the stuff to take people out, you're going to have a challenge with taking some of these characters down or utilizing the weapons.
What did you think about picking up the batteries or the chemicals, right? So for those who aren't familiar with the game, there are 2 wheels, more or less, you have to fill up. One is for the chemical side of it, which then activates certain gadgets, and then others are the battery activated, which is like your watch and other gadgets that way. Well, I was talking to my brother, because my brother's playing too, and he's like, man, like, this part's killing me. That's because he just wants to... I get why they did it, so you're not just spamming it the whole time, but now I got to go find it somewhere around the level to then stock back up, instead of just having it regenerate, right?
Yeah. I think sometimes, of course, we could all look at it and be like, it really sucks to have to do that. Like, I mean, this dude's like 007, and why is he having to pick up drills and some of this other stuff to utilize his batteries? But at the same time, after playing Ghost of Tsushima and, you know, having to pretty much pick up everything just to upgrade your character, that was a breeze in this game. You know, it really wasn't that bad. You know, Ghost of Tsushima, I platinumed that game. I loved it so much, but my God, the amount of stuff that you have to pick up with sticks and this and that to utilize all the other stuff that you need in the game. Picking up a couple of batteries and some, you know, bleach spray or something like that every once in a while, it wasn't too bad, but it's just not something that really bugged me too much. I think it was because the overall cinematic experience, the voice acting, the music, it really just had me engrossed. And I'm one of those gamers that, especially with music, if that music is just on point, then I'm sold into the game. It could be the biggest 8-bit, you know, side scrolling, whatever. If the music is killer, then I'm down for it. And I really felt that the cinematic aspect of this game was just killer, dude.
No, for sure. Michael, what about you?
I mean, I would agree with Caleb. To me, it was one of those where just, you know, either that's because who I am naturally, I just felt with the pacing, it was like, all right, I'm going to use my gadget on this guy, and then 10 steps down the line, here's battery pack, here's a chemical, right? It never felt like I think there was maybe one level where I accidentally used it on a guard who was very obviously had to use it on, but I hadn't got enough hints. By the time I actually had to use it, I had kind of picked up all the chemicals, so I was running around like, where did I miss a chemical? There was like 1 or 2 times where I had maybe gone overboard, but it felt like, all right, I use it, and by the time I need it again, I've already recharged it to full. I thought they were placed well enough where it wasn't like I'm spamming, I'm just lasering everybody's eyeballs out, but it felt like I never really was missing it the most. I think, Drew, that what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I saw some clips on this, is how do you guys feel about the driving levels? Because I remember there's a clip, I don't want to spoil it, but you take a garbage truck, right? And there's a clip that's going around where the guy doesn't hit a button and the truck just drives itself and it just finishes the level because there's some auto steering. So how did you guys feel about, for the most part, you didn't ever really have to drive outside of like if you wanted to, because either there was a speed limit and you couldn't go any faster, or the game would just auto steer if you tried to get too rambunctious, and it kind of felt like, why is this just not a cutscene?
I would say this. I mean, I know that there's a way of turning it off. I know that, like the auto assist or whatever else, I think there's a way of turning that off, but it's not really something that they kind of tell you, you know, like, oh, hey, by the way, you know, during the driving segment, you may notice that the car's moving by itself. But I'll say this, like in one of the scenes when you're coming up on a castle and some people are with you, I noticed, like, when I took my hands off of the control, I was like still holding down the gas. The only time I would ever really see it auto steer is when I got to the point of like, you're about to hit something, and then it would kind of return you back. I didn't really think it was something that was like too telling, but I do understand why somebody would look at that and be like, why is that a thing? You know, why didn't they just do it as a cutscene or an interactive cutscene? You know, something that, you know, it just kind of, because I will say that, even though I did give it the score that I gave it, the garbage truck scene there wasn't really much going on with that scene. You know, it was kind of
Yeah.
one of those moments of like, why are we driving the garbage truck?
Yeah.
But it was still, you know, the best thing about that scene is when you do get to a certain point, you finally hear that rumble of dun 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 kind of playing in the background. You're like, all right, I got it. But you know me. I mean, Drew, you know me. I'm just one of those. I'm like, I think I make people sick sometimes because I'm just one of those positive gamers. If I had fun, I'm like 5 out of 5. I do try to be critical in that sense. But you know, overall is usually what I go with some of these scores. And I'll do, I actually, when I get back from Summer Games Fest, I got a second opinion segment to where I kind of go a little bit more in depth and talk about some stuff that I didn't talk about or things that I didn't really notice in my initial review. It's something that I'm trying to really get back into with second opinion and Cinelinx. You know, that's why we made second opinion is, you know, really kind of push the limits on some of the stuff. If somebody said something was good, then we're like, you sure about that? But I do agree. I think that the auto steering thing, I wish there was a little bit more of a focus at the beginning of the game of like, hey, by the way, sometimes the steering might be a little weird and we have an auto steer on it. If you don't want that, turn it off before the game starts. So
That's fair. I thought it was just a bit of a miss for me. I'm like, oh man, I'm back into another car. I don't want to do this. Just let me get through this stage, right? Like they didn't last long either, so it's not like I'm sitting there for an hour in a car driving around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's just a small segment to get you from point A to point B, and then it's over with. But it was never one of the yes, I'm back behind the wheel. I'm like, no, get me out of here.
I don't think that was. I'll agree with that. I don't think there was ever times where I was like,
No,
I got excited in the training, right, where they make you do a lap in a car.
Yeah.
It's James Bond, right? So you're thinking like, James Bond, I'm gonna get a fast car, and then you go and you know there's like one chase scene, and you're like, okay. So they did kind of psych me out a little bit when I was like, oh, am I gonna be able to race? Like, here's your handbrake, and then I'm like, I can't. I'm going 30 miles an hour through Sweden. I can't handbrake. Like there's nothing to handbrake on. So I thought I got faked out a little bit. Yeah, but in the end, like I'm with you guys. I just know it's a viral clip. A couple of my buddies were like, "Did you do the garbage truck scene? Did you just take your hands off the controller?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know I could do that." But
right,
again,
that's what. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I was holding down right trigger, like, "Oh, let's go faster." But you know, again, it's from point A to point B, so you don't miss much. You know, it's not a big downside.
No, it's just one of those things. It's just a little bit of almost like a filler in a sense, but it needs to push the story along, and how you get there is by using some of these vehicles, right? So, yeah, it was just one of those things. Could they have done without it? Maybe in a cutscene,
maybe.
But it is what it is, and yeah, you're really more about getting in there. Caleb, I want to jump back quickly though to the Q gadgets. So when you get it, you start off and you're able to select 3. What 3 did you pick?
Oh God. I picked the laser, the dart phone.
Yeah.
And I think it was the flash grenade earbuds, I think is the third one that I picked. I've got to pull up a full list of the Q gadgets to remember what they are, because I'm telling you, this week has been like, I woke up yesterday thinking it was like 6 o'clock. I was like, I'm late for my flight. I'm not flying out until tomorrow. Calm down. But I would tell you, I really liked the Q gadgets. Like at first I thought, you know, sometimes when they add these type of accessories into a game, it just kind of feels like, you know, they're just, you know, trying to give some other type of playability. It's not something that you end up using that much. But I felt like I was always using them, dude. Like I felt like anywhere I went, I was always using it. Even when I'd you know, beat every enemy in the area, for some reason, before I would walk out of the area, I'd be like, I'm gonna go over there and turn on that vacuum with my Q gadget just for the heck of it, you know, or you know, the lasers and the flash and stuff. It was really cool. I just thought that it was so those Q gadgets are such iconic gadgets, you know, especially from such early movies in 007. That was what was. I mean, 007 is, of course, he's charming and he's like a one-man army. But at the same time, bro, if it ain't for Q, man, if it ain't for these gadgets and stuff like that, he really wouldn't be much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, especially back in the 60s, dude, you got rockets coming out of, you know, your shoe. But I thought they were really great. I definitely choose. I would probably say some of the best ones to use. Later in the game, you get like the missile and some other stuff. But
Yeah.
I think the best ones to utilize right off the bat are, of course, No, I'm sorry. The camera.
See, I didn't use that one.
The stunning camera was.
Really?
Man, dude, it was great. I mean, it would, especially with heavies. Like if you came up on a heavy enemy and you use that stun camera, it blows them back. I mean, and like especially if they're next to a wall, it'll blow them back. It'll stun them for a minute. It gives you a bigger opportunity of coming up. The laser, it'll stun them, but the heavies, it doesn't. Of course, it doesn't stun them even close to as much. It stuns them for like a second.
Yeah.
But using the flash on that camera was wild, dude. I definitely utilize it a lot. So,
Michael, what'd you pick?
I mean, I thought for a moment there, I thought Caleb was maybe behind my shoulder watching me because him and I were off to the same start. Because I used the laser all the time. I thought that was just also the just watching myself like walk up to a guy, shot you in the eye, and it would get a chuckle out of me every single time.
Yeah, right.
Laser. I used the dart phone. The dart phone was probably my personal favorite. That was subtracting security guard. Oh, sorry, you're gonna feel nauseous now. Gotta sneak past somebody. Oh, you're gonna feel nauseous now.
Yes.
Absolutely love the dart phone. I did end up. I mean, maybe you could say take the cheater's way out. I was full missile pen from the moment you got it because, as we talked about, there's no ammo. So I'm just like, boom. I'm gonna take out 4 of you guys. I'm gonna aim it at a explosive tank, and I'm just gonna create a huge explosion. But those are my 3 favorite really to go to. And the other thing, Drew, is you got to make sure there's a good balance. I think there was one game I loaded in with like all chemicals by mistake, and I'm just like, oh crap, like I can't do anything. So, but yeah, no, I think laser and dart, I probably use those like basically anytime I could. I'm just zapping people for fun at points.
Yeah. I was using the dart phone for sure. I was right there with you. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta pickpocket this person. Everybody's watching. I can't do it. Here, now you're feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Go away, right? So I use that a lot. I never used the camera. I got the camera and I'm like, nah, this isn't clicking for me. I use the stun though. The one you can throw it and it sticks to them and then blows up. I'm
it's
like,
great.
That's awesome. So I use that
It's really
a lot.
cool when you're sneaking, especially like if you're in a top area and you throw it down, everybody's like, what the heck? What that guy's body just turned into a pretzel?
It zaps different parts of the area too, especially if you're near a hose. You unscrew the hose, put some water on the ground, and people go near it, and you get them. Very, very cool. And then just like you, Michael, I went with the missile pen for when shit goes south. I'm like, I'm out. Here you go. Take this.
Yeah, it comes in handy for sure.
I want to. Okay, obviously, Hitman is a big property for IO. Did you guys feel the sense of? So let me put it this way. If say Naughty Dog made this, would it feel like a Naughty Dog game, or because it's IO, does it feel more of like the Hitman game to you guys? You know what I mean? They have different styles, but was it too much Hitman?
I don't think it was too much Hitman. That was actually something whenever they flew me out to check the game out. I talked to one of the development staff about this in an interview, and I was like, the comparison of it, it's hard not to get that comparison because like on screen, whenever we first see the gameplay, we're like, Hitman. But,
exactly.
But I think it's more the style, and they did have a little bit of an upgraded engine on it as well. But I think it's more of the visual style that kind of pulls you to like, it's a little Hitman. But, I will say, just in case if anybody's thinking, I did ask them, are we going to see, are we going to see Agent 47? And they were like, nah, no. There may be a couple little Easter eggs, but
there is
nothing crazy.
Did you get
and
it?
I was like, oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But at the same time, I was like, man, it would have been so much better if, like, at a ballroom or something, if you ended up like bumping shoulders with somebody and all you see on the back of his neck is just a scan bar. You're like, oh shit,
these are get out.
Yeah, leave now, or there's gonna be bodies. But I don't think it was too much Hitman. I did have my worries pre-launch to where I was like, I know they say it's going to be that, but I mean, we also are told every year that every Madden is going to be massively different, or this or that or whatever, and it's not that it's not different. It's just there has to be there has to be some type of differential standard. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I feel like 007 First Light really kind of stands in its own pair of shoes of like, yeah, you may think that there's some similarities, but we are a different game. But I think it's just because all the years of them making Hitman for sure, for you not to, it's real hard not to think that.
Yeah, it's hard not to compare the two. Michael, I know you're not the biggest Hitman guy, so for you, does this even like enter your mind at all?
Not really. I'm again not a big Hitman guy. I've watched some people play. There's some YouTubers who I follow who are really big into Hitman, and no, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't give me those vibes at all. I thought it did a great job of standing out. I think almost I wish there was, which it's not James Bond style, so I get why they didn't. But I'm almost wishing there was those missions where it's like, hey, just eliminate this target. Like, don't go asking people for code names and hacking cell phones. Like, just give me a sniper on the roof and make it about like eliminating him without anybody knowing, right? I think that is almost one where I was almost craving that, but I think this game did a good job making me forget that. I'm sure we'll talk about it, Drew. I think the non-story mode could probably use that. The tactical mode, I forgot what they call it, right?
Yeah,
I think
no,
that
that's it.
could use Hitman style missions, because those, when I played them, were not very fun. But for the main story, it was one of those going in, I was like, if you give me one or two, like take out this target from 300 meters away, I'll enjoy it. And they didn't have to do that because the James Bond archetype doesn't work with that. And I never for a moment like left the game like, oh, I didn't get a Hitman anybody. I was like, they did James Bond exactly the way I want them to do James Bond. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, which is where I'm at too. There's definitely some similarities there. You can see that it's in the DNA, but it's James Bond without a doubt on its own, right? But when we're suddenly now eavesdropping on conversations, I'm like, well, that's Hitman. This is just straight up. It is, because that's what they did in the last one, right? But I played Hitman from day one, like the original Hitman. I've been there.
Way.
So, and then it came over, and now we're into World of Assassination. And I played the shit out of that. And then the freelancer mode.
Such a good game.
Oh, dude,
Man.
it's incredible, right? So, again, building off of those successes and that lineage, how far do they push that? Or do they go completely, away? Some of the movement, I'm like, that looks somewhat maybe, but maybe that's just me going, is it? So, all in all, yeah. But, Michael, you talked about it. You brought it up. Escalation mode.
There we go. That's the name. I couldn't remember.
No,
because it was
sorry.
so
Escalation
forgettable.
is Hitman. Its tactical mode is for
cool.
Bond.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought you were just doing a little Easter egg yourself right there. I was like, hey.
This, it doesn't sit well with me. I think they want you for Hitman. There's a reason to come back and play the game again, to play that level, right? Hey, you took out your target this way. Well, now there's 30 other ways you can go about and do it now. And they have this mode called escalation. So you go, you have your target, and you have a specific set of quests to do. So you're in this suit, or you have access to this room, and you're given this type of weapon to go kill that target. Okay, cool. Now that you've done it, then it escalates to the next level. Everything else becomes more challenging, more physically challenging to get to that escalation to then go to the next. And sometimes like it's 3 rounds or it's 5 rounds, depends on how the level is played out. They brought that over here in a sense too for tactical, but I honestly feel like 007 First Light is its own thing in its own game, and it doesn't need this tactical mode. I finished the story and thought, cool, I'm out. I don't want to play tactical mode. I dove into it and I was like, maybe one day, once I'm like craving some James Bond stuff, but I think for me, I'd rather just go play Hitman in that sense, right? That's just me. But if you were in on 007 First Light and you're looking for more, you essentially go back, you play another level. And I went to the laundromat level. In this one, I had to get 3 notes. And then I took out those guys and then escalated to the next level. I'm like, nah, I just didn't crave this. I was so satisfied with the completion of the story. I'm like, man, this is just a campaign game to me, right? Like I'm in. I had a fantastic time, and then I'm out. That's it. That's where I stand. Michael, where are you with this one? Because I know you're not really feeling it either, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I hopped in and was like, wanted to check it out, and I was like, this is just. And again, it felt like a lot of them also were like, you have to play the mission multiple times. It's because there's a bunch of different challenges. It almost felt like it was just 100, I'll use the buzzword of the year, 100% slop, right? It's just like, oh, well, play this mission this way and take out 9 guards with your fists. But there's also a mission where you can never be detected, which you can't do if you do that achievement. So then I have to replay the same mission and I have to do it differently. To me, and I was talking with some buddies, it almost felt like it would be better, especially because almost every mission, you've got a partner somewhere, right? Either it's your team or it's somebody
Sure.
else. I almost wish it was a world where, there's a great one where you're with a guy and he's like, all right, James, you go do this. I'm going to do this. And I wish I could replay it, but I'm from his aspect, right? Like, I want to
Yeah.
go secure this, right? I want to go do what they did for the mission while I already know what James did. I feel like that would have been a better way to do tactical of like, what do you think the other part of the mission looked like while James Bond is trying to do whatever he's doing, right? That felt like
cool.
it would have been what I wanted tactical to be, because it ended up just being like, kill these 14 guards and here's 7 ways you can do it. You can't do them all at the same time, so you're gonna have to play this 6 different times if you want your 100% achievement. And I was like, I'm not a platinum guy. I played it for an hour and I was like, I'll never touch this again.
Fair enough. Caleb, you play it?
I played it once and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't something like what you said with Escalation and Hitman. It wasn't something that there's so many other ways of playing Hitman. So like Hitman World of Assassination, like there's so many things to do in that. But mind you, we also have to remember that game has been out for a massive amount of time, and there's been so many DLCs and so many add-ons, so many updates. Now, of course, if somebody's like, if Fish were to go back and say, I'm finally going to play Hitman, you're going to feel overwhelmed because there's so much stuff to do. There's sniper mode. There's all this other stuff. With 007, I thought that, I'm kind of like Drew. I was like, when I was done with the story, I was like, my God, that was good, bro. That's like eating a Wagyu steak. Like it was just like magnifique. I'm good. But I feel like it was more kind of like maybe pushed towards content creators of like, hey, if you want some more stuff until like maybe DLC or something like that comes out, we do have this mode that you can go back and you can change your costume and you can, you can do this and do these challenges. But also my wife actually really loves that mode because she is a completionist freak. She, shockingly enough, back to back, she beat 100% completed Breath of the Wild, then 100% completed God of War 2018, then Ragnarok, and then did Ghost of Tsushima and platinumed it. And I was like, what is wrong? I mean, I knew you were a gamer, but like I would come home sometimes and I'm like, you've been playing this since I left for work. Like, what are you doing? But she really enjoys it, but I get the niche. I get the fact that like it's not for everybody. But I will say something that was kind of looming on my mind is, it's not the same as what it is in Hitman. In Hitman, it's like if you go into, using a Lego term here, if you go in a free play mode and, you can just do whatever you want to in Hitman, you can, you play back through it and you discover new areas and then you can start in new areas and then you can have all new weapons and you can have new outfits and this and this and this. But Hitman, I think that's where we also have to realize that's the difference is Agent 47 and 007 are two completely different styles of agents. Agent 007 was like, I will say I did have that bloodlust that Fish was talking about. Like there'd be some times I'm like, oh my God, I just want to kill these people and move on, but that's how we are. We're like, I know this dude's going to end up like, I'm going to end up having to fight this guy or something. And then it was so satisfying when you would see it turn from yellow to red. And it's like license to kill. You're like, I'm about to fuck y'all up, bro. You don't even know, bro. I'm about to blow up everything that I can. There's nothing going to be left. But I think I get the fact that, I get what y'all are saying. I totally understand. And I will say like what Fish said, they're like when you go and you do those missions and it's like, okay, you did this, now you have to do this in the same mission and this is the other challenge. And I could see why people would be like, I'm not going to go back to that. But I think that is one of the things about satisfying stories and single player games. When you do get a game that has such a satisfying storyline, you don't yearn for the extra. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. I think that's the reason why there was that that pivotal kind of shift, and we're starting to see a lot of these game studios finally open their eyes and wake up and be like, not everybody wants multiplayer, not everybody wants a extraction shooter, and not everybody wants a fucking battle royale.
That's
So like, we don't need to this coming up God of War game, I better not see some fucking multiplayer added in that shit, or I'm gonna be pissed. I'm like, I don't want a side game, but I really agree. I think it depends on the player. It really does. It depends on your style of play.
I want to see where they take it next. I think that's my biggest question, right? Okay, people are done with the game. They wrapped it up. There's this tactical mode. What else are you going to do with it? Because they had, like you say, Caleb, they've extended the life cycle of Hitman for so long over the years because they keep adding more content. Oh, there's another escalation mission. They have Eminem in here. Did I kill him? You're fucking right, I did. I blew him up. And it was awesome. Dude, it was so good. But that's Hitman. So what are you going to do differently that makes me... What are you going to do so different that's going to pull me back now that I've completed 007 First Light? What are you going to pull me into tactical mode that is going to go, hey, you know what? You can't miss this. I just don't feel like they have that same sense moving forward with this like they do with Hitman. So, yeah, a lot of comparisons going back and forth. Clearly different games, but it does make me go, are you just trying to extend the life of the game? And can you actually pull it off? Time will tell. Is there anything else that's on the top of our minds there, gents?
I was just going to say, just remember that IO does have post-launch type of roadmap content meant for Hitman. I think it is going to be different.
First Light, you mean?
See?
Dude, we're hooked on it, right? That's
yeah, for 007, for 007 First Light. They do have a roadmap set. I still listen. My most humorous thing. Well, I guess we'll talk about that in the spoiler section. I got something pretty funny to kind of bring up in the spoiler section. But I would just say, if you are done with the story and you're kind of waiting, they do plan on having some type of a roadmap system. I don't know how long this is going to, expand.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be another? Maybe they're going to support it with DLC up until the launch of a new Hitman or a new 007 game. God bless. Come on, IO. But I think, I really honestly just really liked this game, dude. Like, was just, man. Like, I love 007 movies. I really do. I thought Daniel Craig was like one of the best 007s in years.
Yeah.
And, when I was sitting there thinking so much of like, how are they going to replace Daniel Craig like as 007, and having this actor as him, I thought at first when I saw him, I'm like, we'll see. And he did so good, man. He just had that swagger with him, the whole time he was in the game. His comments, his style. It was pretty great 007 experience.
I think the cast overall was such a solid cast of characters. The voice acting is on point. It's 100% there. It felt so believable walking away from the game going, man, I just lived in this world. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking awesome.
I thought the supporting characters did a good job. I think, really not a spoiler, but you go to Vietnam and just like I was walking around and there's some side characters you talk to, and my buddies and I were like, that like voice actor, like I feel like I'm in Vietnam. Like it wasn't just the main characters. I thought the voice acting as a whole, which has been sometimes hit or miss in games recently, I thought they absolutely killed it. And as Caleb had said when we were talking about tactical mode, right? I think the story in this game is so good that anything else I want to say bad about like other modes, I'm like, well, the story was good, and that's the reason you play this game is for the story. They absolutely killed the story. So I'll bash on tactical mode, but I didn't buy the game to get tactical mode. I bought the game for the story, and they killed it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I think it's spoiler time. There's a lot to break down. So everybody, if you have not finished 007 First Light, I almost said Hitman. If you have not finished 007 First Light, be warned, we're about to spoil the fuck out of this right now. Michael, you were geared up for this.
Yeah.
You kick us off, man. I want to know what you're thinking.
So, so the biggest thing for me is this game went from a 9 to an 8 for me because of the last mission.
That last
I thought
boss
the last
fight.
I knew you were gonna say that, bro.
Everything. I thought
Yeah.
Damien coming back made me so mad. We went from James Bond to some sci-fi bullshit that really pissed me off. And just I don't know what the trope is called. I've called it the Thanos trope when I'm talking to my buddies, but to end a game with will return, right? It ends with James Bond will return, which does that mean DLC? Does that mean a second game? I don't know. But that just made me so mad. I felt like it killed all of the momentum of the game. And I told a buddy this. I think if the game had ended right, Damien breaks in when you and I forgot her name are in the holding cell. It opens up, she escapes, and then Bond's like, I'm gonna go rescue the hostages. She looks at Bond and says, good luck, James. I almost would have rather just had fade to black right there. And just said, like, let's ignore everything else. I mean, I just, the last mission just, it took it all away from me. I was going to give this game a 9. I was at a 9, and I did the last mission, and I was like, I hate this. I hate the fact that Damien comes back. I hate the fact that the game ends with her escaping with the core, which, what does that even mean? I think there is, my buddy said that it is a reference to some sort of cabal in the 007 universe when they're like, oh, there's people at stake that we don't even know about. But I thought the last mission just absolutely sucked out what was, until that, a really amazing game. I could not stand it.
I was so disappointed to see him make a return. I'm like, dude, I just fucking dropped all of those thousands of pounds of pipe on you. You mean you survived that shit? No fucking way. I don't care if you jabbed yourself with some antidote and fucking made you a hero like Superman or something. You should be dead. That thing should have decapitated your head. There's no way you come back from that. I did not like that part at all. I was crushed. I'm like, okay, so you know where you are. You break out. I'm like, okay, I like this breakout part, but you know what it reminded me of? Caleb, you probably know more than I think Michael would in this case. But dude, it was the hospital scene from The Last of Us. That's my boom. I was just like, holy fuck, this is The Last of Us moment right here. I don't know why, but that's where my head went. And then I'm like, okay, so now I'm racking my brain.
So you're saying you were that mad? At that point in time?
No. So when you break out, your cells open and you're about to run down the hallway. I'm like, fuck, this is The Last of Us, where Joel's running down the hall of the hospital, man.
Yeah.
So I was
well,
like,
at least
oh,
we didn't
shit.
see any clickers.
But now my brain starts spinning. Who could this be? So at the one moment when, you know, like our big friend group of double O's, Monroe dies. The girl gets paralyzed. I thought, is it her? Is she that fucking mad? Things went south, and she's coming back to take over, right? I would have been over the moon if it was that. Instead, fucking Damien shows back up. I thought, bullshit.
I know y'all are gonna hate me saying this.
Ah,
but
no!
I loved it. I fucking loved it because I hated Damien so much. And when I saw his face, I was like, "You piece of shit! How are you still alive?" I loved it. But I did actually. I did think that. What's the girl's name? Why am I so
Starts with
blank
an
on her
L or
name?
something, right?
Yeah, like
it's
I
funny.
thought
Her
the same
fake name,
thing.
because we never really learned her real name.
I was like, I thought at first, I was like, what if she wasn't paralyzed and it was just like a ruse or something, you know?
Cressida. Cressida is her name.
Oh, Cressida,
Oh,
yeah.
Cressida, okay. But when it was revealed that it was Damien, I'm gonna be honest, like I was like, it just drove me more. I was like, I hope I get to rip you into shreds more. How the fuck are you still alive? But I mean, you also got to remember too. I don't know if they were kind of going in that way with 007, but there are 007 movies that we had these type of turns to where like you thought the main enemy was dead, and then oh wait, come to find out, no, he's not. He's actually been behind the bigger scheme of things. So I don't know, man. I feel like maybe it's just because I'm just such a big 007 fan or something that when I did see that big of a twist, I was like, oh, okay. Well, this does make sense because you know when you're at his dad's when
Sir
you're
Nicholas
at
Webb. Dude, what a twist.
Yes, when you're at Webb's office.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all remember, but the golden mask is there. Do y'all remember that?
I'm trying to remember where
When you're at his headquarters, and you could search all these different rooms. There's actually some rooms that I didn't think I was like, I mean, that has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, I do remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
that was one of my moments to where I kind of guessed. I was like, Damien's a fucking golden mask. Like Damien He's got to be. I mean, like, who is this other guy? Who would this guy be? You know, because at the point in time when you first meet Damien, it's like, who gives a fuck about this guy? You know, he's just some long-haired douchebag. You know, like he's just I don't know. Like I really kind of felt I was like at a point in time I was like, what would be the point of Damien's character outside of, you know, that one little scene if you weren't going to have some type of massive thing later? But I don't know, man. You know, it's probably also my ADHD dyslexic brain that when I saw that mask, I was like, is he that guy? Because, you know, you see him at first at I think, what is it, the desert scene? The first time you see the golden mask?
No. Oh,
No,
yes.
when was
Yes,
it?
it is. 'Cause he
Yeah,
launches
yeah,
a
it
rocket
was.
at you, right?
Yeah,
And blows you and
yeah. He
Greenway
shot
up.
the rocket at you. So, you know, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I just, it was luck that I kind of put it together or whatever. But when I did see him, I just had such a different reaction than you guys. I was like, fuck yeah, I get to kill him again. You know, like, yes. Because I really hated his guts. Like that interrogation scene, bro. Like whoever did the acting for him, man, they really did a good job of making you hate him. Because even though it was such a small scene, you're trying to hack this phone and all this other stuff. Just in that moment, I was like, I don't like this fucking dude at all, bro. Like, I really don't like him as a not as an actor or as a person, but I just really don't like his character, man. Like, I'm gonna have a vendetta against him or something. But I did his partner that died. I kind of had it in my mind at first that maybe it was him, because even though they did eventually get to the point of having that like good relationship, they still had that kind of constant battle of trying to one up each other.
Oh, Greenway, you're talking about?
No. Why am I going so blank?
I questioned if it was
Monroe.
Monroe.
Yeah.
He died early though.
He did. But then, I mean, at the same time, I was like,
never even thought of him.
He was really, when you think about it, he was such a heavy secondary character at the beginning of the game.
I hated him at the beginning. I hated him.
I did too.
Like, dude, you're a fucking dick. I hope I get to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And then we got in this big fight, and next thing you know, he pulled such a 180 for me. I'm like, man, I really now care about you. I think you're a cool dude. We're joking around. We're hanging out. And then he fucking dies. I'm like, you bastards, you got me.
See, I think they did that on purpose, though, because that instantly I was like, right whenever I saw the golden mask, and I the first thing that popped up, I was like, is that Monroe? Because really, when you think about it, he did such a quick turn from I can't fucking stand you to, oh, now we're best friends. And then he dies, and I'm like, did he fake his death? You know, but I think that's what's good about the story, though, is that it does kind of leave you guessing, and there wasn't really a lot of moments that I was like, oh, well, you know, this was kind of telltale at the beginning. But I will say, like I said, I didn't have the same reaction with you guys because I was excited. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll get to kill him again. And I mean, he looked, you know, a little bit different the second time.
I mean, I do want to say, I think for me, almost the more anger, like the Davian part was, I was a little annoyed. To me, it was just ending on the, like, we're already doing a sequel, right? Like that to me is what really, like, I would have been fine if it's like, we want to do something. Like, there's so much you could do with James Bond. Like, another game is great, but when you end a game and it's basically like, hey, we're going to make a sequel. I mean, this game was in development for like 5 years. Does this mean I have to wait till 2031 to see how the story unfolds? Like, that almost to me is what made me more mad. It's just like, just end us on a clean cut, and if the game sells really well, make a sequel, because this game's selling really well. They're going to have it up. But what if this game didn't sell well and you ended on this, like, James Bond will be back? You turn it into this, like, massive meme of, like, where's James Bond?
Yeah,
so,
he's still not back yet.
Yeah, I wasn't maybe as mad as Damien. I thought it was, I'm like, okay, we got a little too sci-fi for me. But for me, it was just that ending where, like, James Bond will be back. I'm like, you didn't have to do that. You literally didn't have to do that. And I would have been like, I would have been so much more happy. I just hate this meta where it's like everything has to be set up for a sequel, because if it sells well, we could do a sequel. Video games, movies, whatever. I hate that, like, meta that we're in.
I do kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I was going to be really sad if they didn't set it up for a sequel, because
That's fair.
You know, there was such a I'm excited for where it's going to go in that sense. Like in the next game, like what other guest celebrities are going to be?
Sure.
That's okay. Listen, so the I'm trying to think of his name now. I
The
can't
meme
remember
guy, the meme dude. I
No,
know.
you know what? And that's something else. I didn't ever really even. I don't think I don't know if I just went alternate routes or
You didn't
maybe I
see
just
him?
don't remember. I think I
Really?
did, but like at the same time, it was like supposedly Jack. I think Jacksepticeye was in the game too.
Yeah,
But
I
I
heard
think
I
that.
did
that
not get that one. Yeah.
yeah, so Jacksepticeye was in the game as well, and I think it was like maybe those were just moments that when you walked to a certain area you saw those guys or something like that. But I never run into that. But I fucking loved Lenny Kravitz in this
Yeah,
game, but at the
absolutely.
same time, it was so wild to see him being this like I'm a badass gangster dude, but I'm still gonna talk exactly like Lenny Kravitz. Like I'm still gonna have that same type of like I'm hanging you over crocodiles right now, but I'm also about to do a concert for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it was his tone of voice. He always has that same tone. Of course, it's just how he speaks in that sense. But I just was laughing the whole time, like in a good sense of like, God, fucking Lenny Kravitz is a bad guy in this game. Like, what is this?
It was
bro?
just so short lived, though. Like Michael and I were talking about this before you were able
Yeah.
to join us, and I was like, man, I thought it was killer that we saw Lenny come in, and I thought he
Oh,
did his
yeah.
part really well. Like he's the badass boss, but he's this big badass boss that we really didn't get to see much of, right? Some guy
Yeah.
tried to fuck him over. That didn't go well. Okay, cool. Now he thinks we're trying to fuck him over. That didn't go well. And then he comes back to help us later, and then he's gone. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, part of me was like, I thought the way they presented him in trailers, I thought he was the main villain.
I will say I somewhat thought he was the main villain as well at one point in time.
Yeah.
Even at the reveal event when they were kind of talking about him, I was like, "Oh, okay, so is he the main bad guy?" But I'm hoping, which this is kind of where Fish gets irritated. I'm hoping that maybe he's going to come back in the next game, but.
That'd
Like
be
what
cool.
Fish said, I kind of don't want to have to wait another 5 years
Oh man, it's been a while.
for that. Of course, there is this big campaign to get the actor that played 007 to be the new 007 in the film. And I'm like, no, listen. Like, yes, he is that good of an actor. He did a really great job. But please just let him focus in on doing another game. Maybe we'll get one by 2030, which is so weird to say, but
wishful thinking.
4 more years, maybe we'll get another one, and maybe we'll see those other type of improvements. But I will say that is something, and I would be remiss not to say I did kind of. I guess it was in the back of my mind, but I did leave that out of my review. That I was a little disappointed that Lenny Kravitz didn't have a bigger role in the game. Like he was, yes, it was cool,
Money.
but yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, okay, well, how much do we have to pay you to be in this? How long do we have to keep you in here? But I don't know, man. I think that his character was really cool. I thought the addition to him was really great, and but y'all are making me think on this. It is something that was kind of sad to not see him more utterly involved, or maybe even be more involved in that final scene with Damien. Him
Yeah.
kind of, knowing or having a connection with James or, MI6 to where he's like, okay, listen, I don't fuck with you guys that much, but I'm going to help you out because you helped me, but I don't know.
Stealing the Q watch, that final bit of in MI6, and you were just literally hunkered up top, and I am blowing the shit away of everybody who stands. I'm lighting up that gadget, I'm lighting up this gadget, and it is just like firing at everybody. It's zapping them. I'm getting the car. I'm now spinning around, shooting the hell out of
The
everyone.
car was sick. The car was so
awesome.
sick.
Yeah, bro. That was so cool, man.
Love that part. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go. James is now starting to hone in on who he is in 007, right? And then I want to talk about the dynamic between Greenway and 009. I loved that little story tidbit of, hey, you know what? He was actually set up this whole time. He got screwed over. You've now hated him for years, and it blows Greenway just away to the fact he's like, man, I didn't know. Oh fuck. I thought, what a great twist. I think this is one of those setups along the journey of 007 First Light that was just, I felt like it was constantly hit with another twist and another twist and another twist, and I absolutely fucking loved it.
I will say I'll agree with that. Like when you do realize that 009 was set up, and like that initial moment when Greenway is like, 007's like, I'm pretty sure, we need to go over to this area and find some more information that he left for us. Greenway was like, no, I'm not doing that. Okay. He's just trying to get us to go somewhere else. So, even after he's dead, he gets what he wants, and blah, blah. And when you find out, like, hey, bro, yes, he was irritated. Yes, he was mad at MI6. But at the same time, his end game was to get the 00 system back, to get the 00 back, and then finding out all this other stuff that, not only was he a target, for so long, but he was also realizing, holy shit, they're going to try to kill Greenway. Holy shit, they're going to try to take out the 00s. They're going to try to, and the fact that Greenway, when you see that, such a good moment, bro. Like I got goosebumps right now. Like when I saw his reaction, like what you said, when he comes back to tell M or Q, or whatever, whatever letter she is, when he comes back to explain what happened, and she's like, no, I've got too much heat on me right now. I don't want to hear it. And he's like, we're done. It's over. It meant nothing. And like everything that I've done, all this hate that I've had in my heart about this one guy for so long, I could have been helping him. And instead I was more focused on my own selfish hate for this man instead of better understanding him. I thought that was so cool, man. I thought that was a really great cinematic moment, dude.
Michael, you got anything?
100%. I think the moment too where Greenway kind of realizes like, oh shit, I killed people who were innocent because of this computer, right? And just the toll that takes, and just that whole continuation of that moment that Caleb was talking about. I thought that was so good. I was a little annoyed because they had framed it like there's a mole in MI6, and my buddies and I were like, okay, who's the mole? We're like, oh, when you notice that some of your other recruits go missing, this one guy who you never really, it wasn't Monroe or the other chick, it's just some random, I think one of the other recruits. Oh, his body was just missing. Like, was it him? Was he mad that he got injured at the chess event? Like, I was a little annoyed when it's like, oh, it's just a second supercomputer. Like, I really wanted it to be like a mole in MI6.
Really,
Or I was like racking my brain. I was like, who could it be? Like, I had stopped for the night, and I'm like, all right, who could it be? Is it M? Is it something where she, she's just, really trying to double turn people? Like, I was really racking my brain. So I was like a little sad when it ended up being a supercomputer, and I was like, dang, I wanted it to be a mole. I wanted to have to go find somebody in MI6. Like, I can't believe you did that. And so, I thought that whole sequence, though, as Caleb said, I thought it was just, as we said in our non-spoiler part, right? Like, the story in this game is just so good. It just sucks you in, and it's almost like you're just sad when the story ends because you just wanted more story content because they put it together so masterfully.
No, absolutely. So the supercomputer thing for me, I thought was a cool twist. I'm like, oh shit, there's another computer that's backed up all the stuff. I just wanted a mole
so bad, man. I just wanted it to be somebody else. Like, I wanted a mole.
I thought, man, like, what a game. The twist.
Yeah.
The girl at the end, what the hell's her name again? She had such a setup, too, on the boat. I thought, what a scene, right? She actually opens up. I thought, I bought it. Did anybody else buy her bullshit?
Oh, yeah. I did.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I was hooked. And then find out it's all like, no, I'm just here to kill him and take this. I'm out. I'm like, oh, well, goddamn.
Yeah,
it's so
but
cool.
I mean, she has those moments. She has a lot of moments kind of like that throughout the game. Or there's characters that have those moments where you're like, oh, well, they're like me. They're here for the end goal. You're like, oh, okay, selfish reasons. I get it. Whatever. But I do agree. I think that just overall, man, it was just such a cinematic, wild experience. And like what he said, when he's in the car. And he's, everything. I mean, that action sequence was just like, dude, I had goosebumps. Like, oh my God, the music, everything playing. I was like, yes, But that is something that I did think about, Drew. At the end of the game, I was like, okay, I guess I kind of get the dynamic of this game a little bit more. That when at the beginning, when I did have that a little bit of frustration of like, okay, why is it a little rough to do some of this stuff? it is hard to realize that you are starting as a fresh 00.
Yeah, it's
completely
and
new.
This is not the same 007 that, like, when you see him, like, also, you know, speaking of like Casino Royale, even though we, at the beginning of Casino Royale, we see that there's moments to where it's his earlier career or something whenever he just started as a 00. But even in the moments of Casino Royale, he was a seasoned agent that was well known and whatever. So I think that's what is so great about this experience, is that it was just so different. It was such a different telling moment of, Mama's getting mad in there. But I think it was a great, really, really great game, dude. It just cherry on top.
Absolutely. It's a highlight of the year, right? It really is a standout highlight of the year.
It is one of my top games on my game of the year list right now. So for sure, it's. I think that it's some people. I saw some people online, and I don't know if it's just this new thing to where, like, if a game comes out and it's not like everybody's liking, then there's people on the internet that just trash it. And there's some of these people who are saying, why are we paying $70 or $80 for a game that can be beat in 12 hours? And I'm like, 12 hours? Like, what are you talking about? 12 hours.
I was 20 hours, and I didn't even really touch the tactical mode.
I really honestly think it's a rage bait kind of thing that's out there now.
Sure.
Like, whoever played that in 12 hours, you had to skip every cutscene and like, run past every enemy or something like that. Because I'm the type of gamer, I don't know about y'all, but like, I really take my time with games.
Dude, it's a
I'm even
game.
at that point. Yeah, I'm even at that point of telling some of these PR companies, if we're reviewing a game, hey, listen, if I do get a chance to really engross myself in this game, I will get the review up in time. If not, I'm going to take my time with this game. And if you want our opinions on it and we can work really well together, it's going to take me a longer amount of time to do that. But with 007, I was just so into the game. I was like, I can crunch this out. I could not bathe for the next 2 days and not move out of this chair.
I was definitely hooked. Like my life is just, I'm busy. I'm just a busy guy. So I have a couple hours to game here, a couple hours to game there, and then I hang out with my wife and family and my kids and stuff, right? But for me, like, dude, I was hooked. I'm like, okay, I'm not playing with you tonight. It's fucking 007 tonight. It's me and Bond. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna chill, and we're gonna go sneak around and take out a bunch of people and stuff, right? It was such a great experience. Before we wrap things up, gents, Michael and I just had this conversation, I believe, on last episode. Game of the year. Michael, I'm gonna start with you. Does this make it in that game of the year conversation at the Game Awards?
Yeah, I think it does. I think from what I played, even though I was critical on it, again, I think a lot of that just came from the frustration of the final mission.
Sure.
I think this makes the game of the year. I mean, I would even say that I'm bummed that, you know, unfortunately, and we'll see what Caleb says, you and I are in agreement, Drew, that it can't win game of the year because there's that GTA monster looming. Because I think this would be a really fun discussion between this and Crimson Desert, potentially Wolverine. But yeah, I think 100%, I think this is a finalist for game of the year. I thought this game was fantastic. It played like a James Bond game, and it played like a James Bond movie, and I loved it. So yeah, for me, 100% game of the year finalist. It's just, to me, a real shame that it doesn't stand a chance, unfortunately.
That's fair. Caleb, where you at, brother?
I'm going to be the double-edged sword here and say, first off, I think that this game has a really big chance to be game of the year. And the reason why is you got to remember how they do game of the year now. The GTA 6 ain't launching until like November.
So to interrupt you real quick, Michael and I had this discussion on our last podcast. Okay, November 21st is the cutoff for Game of the Year awards discussion, stuff like that, to submit to the Keeley, right?
Yeah.
The game is out 2 days prior. No review codes are being sent. How does this even get entered into the Game of the Year conversation?
I don't think it's gonna.
But then it can't get nominated for 2027 either.
Well, you know, let's say this.
We had this whole.
That is a tough thing. That is a tough thing. So, Take-Two has a lot of money. And I've seen some, I don't know if y'all have watched some of these in-depth interviews with the CEO of Take-Two, but this dude is like,
Strauss knows his shit.
Listen, he is extremely confident in what this game is going to be. I have never seen a CEO so confident in a game in my life. So this has got to be like some groundbreaking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they have said it multiple times that it is going to be something that's going to change the scope of how games are perceived and made.
Yeah.
But I gotta say with what Drew said, I mean, I don't see how, in that sense, how it would. I mean, if it drops 2 days before, like, I don't know, man. But I would say this: the place that really matters in my heart. It is definitely at the top of Game of the Year for Cinelinx.com. So, yeah, I just think that there's so much that is just a round kind of scope with this game that really kind of put a good feel in my gamer heart of like, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there was so, I'm going to be honest, the last few years, even though we have had some good experiences with games, I really thought that the games industry is starting to lose touch with their basis, you know, because there were so many games that were coming out that were just like, you know, the story was just really kind of hit or miss, or every game that we would see that these companies were investing into were battle royales or had some type of oh my God, man. Like I remember when we really started seeing this, and it was God of War fucking Ascension. All right. And I went to Walmart, got the Blu-ray copy of it just to play the demo. And they were like, you know, oh, God of War Ascension is going to be such a great game. And it had fucking multiplayer. It was online multiplayer. And I thought that's when I really started seeing the games industry move away from these cinematic and story type of experiences. And over the last few years, it's been such a heavy focus on battle royale and extraction shooters and co-op that's not like storyline co-op. You know, so I think they did I think that's the reason why this game is doing becoming such a massive success. Is because it is really a true cinematic story experience that expands outside of the realm of gaming, because 007 is such a big brand. I'm going to tell you this: there's some family friends of mine that don't game at all, and my mom's, whatever she is, I don't know, friend or whatever, her husband is a massive 007 fan, and he went and got an Xbox just to play this game.
Good
and he's like,
I love it.
He's like, I haven't played games since, like, you know, OG Xbox. And you know, I've just always he said, but I've got to play it. And I asked him a couple of days back, I'm like, what are you thinking about it? He was like, this is the best game that I've ever played. I'm like, you know, I have to try not to take that with too much, you know, because this is the first game he's played in like 20 years. But at the same time, I mean, the fact that it is making people go out and buy systems, you know, I think, I mean, of course, we haven't seen that with, you know, on the scale of percentages, but I would think that this would be one of those games that could get people to buy a console or turn their console on when it hasn't been turned on in a while. So, like I said, it's definitely one of my top contenders. So
now that I finished it, so when Michael were having our podcast last week, I think we were only a few hours in, Michael, and we had high hopes where we are already at within our short experience. But now that I'm done, like, that story wraps up so well. In the spoilers, the story wraps up, but the way the story is told throughout, and the experiences and the gadgets, the gameplay and the locations and the cast of characters, like, it's got to be in that Game of the Year discussion at least, right? Like, it's got to be in there. I got to see it in there. So yeah. Hats off, shout out to IO. They absolutely fucking crushed it. I think 007 First Light is hopefully the first of many to come from IO. And I only look forward to seeing more James Bond and see where that other mode goes too. But either way, that's a whole other discussion. But yeah, gotta be in the Game of the Year. I think it's gotta be there for sure. Boys, let's wrap this up. Caleb, dude, brother, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate you being here, dude. It's been a ton of fun. Love that we hang out, we chat. I like your beard. Keep it going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where can
I
people
just
find you?
cleaned it
before
up, you know.
Yeah, is that just for us?
Yeah.
Oh, man, thanks.
Yeah, I had to clean it up the other day because you know, I sometimes I kind of let my hair grow out a little bit and my beard kind of grows out a little bit. My daughter looked at me the other day and she was like, "You look homeless." I was like, "You look homeless. I can actually kick you out of this house." Okay. But I had to clean it up for the show, man.
Appreciate
People can find me over at Cinelinx.com, but they can also find me on socials at S0LEB, Soleb and or Celeb or whatever you want to call me. I don't care.
Been called worse.
But it's been called worse. But it's always a pleasure coming on, man. I am excited about Summer Games Fest, but I am depressed that I'm not going to be able to spend it with you guys.
I'm
I
sorry,
need
man.
you guys back at the showcase next year. So hopefully we'll see you there.
We'll make it happen. That's definitely a goal
sir.
for sure. Absolutely. This
Awesome.
whole new site thing has got us
Yes,
quite
sir.
busy. So
I understand, man.
we appreciate you. As I said, everybody go follow Caleb. Wonderful dude. Hung out with him over at Summer Game Fest a couple years back, and I've never let go of him since. So, yeah.
That's right. That's right. We were eating egg burritos, okay?
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you catch us on your podcast services around the world, of course, over on YouTube, help us by hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the follow, do all the good stuff. And for everything else, head over to thegamerstheory.com. And as always, I'm Drew. That was Caleb. And it's our good buddy, Michael. Until next week, we'll catch you on Theory Unlocked.
You